Welcome back, nerds, to the Damn It Rad podcast. As always, your host, Big Rad. I'm here with Big John, and I'm here with Big Crash. Everything big on this bitch today. We are here talking about spooky season. It is Halloween. It is October. Your boy's a bit of a horror movie buff, but today is all about John and his stories. But before we get to that, let's go into the reason of the season. Halloween is an ancient pagan holiday that the Catholics are trying to erase. All I want to do is go out. The Catholics have signed more exorcists this year than they have in the past decade.
Yeah, but...
Well, it's to combat evil, right?
It's not stopping
Mortal
Halloween.
combat.
So, okay, let me just correct you there for a second. So, absolutely, right? So, Halloween is definitely based around the pagan holiday. I think it's called, maybe, dude, I don't know if the pagan holiday was called Samhain or if it was, if that's just the Scottish word for it. But it definitely does have its roots there, and there's a lot of Christian holidays that are placed around those things just because
Christmas.
that was the thing. That was the thing to do back then.
You're trying to get converts.
Well,
You know?
yeah,
You're not going to celebrate on the day they're already celebrating.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just going to throw your meaning on top.
Yeah,
of
because
that.
I mean,
Then like 2 or 3 generations later, they're not going to remember why they were doing it. It's like something my grandfather did.
And then there's
just a lot of Christians do
fight
it, so
stupid battles about anyway. Whatever.
I guess we've been Christians forever.
But
The more you know.
back on topic. So Halloween, right, is just a slang term for All Hallows Eve, right? Right, which is the day of All Souls Day, right? And so
I thought All Souls Day was the day after.
that's All Saints Day.
Oh.
November 1st is All Saints Day.
Drew Brees, Malcolm James.
Exactly, those things.
Yeah.
Those things.
They go
So-
marching in.
So there's that. So it's always like the Halloween part has always been a truly Christian holiday, even though there's some, fundamental Christians out there who say it's of the devil, right? But
Well, to those guys, everything's of the devil.
absolutely dancing, fun.
Benjamin Franklin invented electricity. I did. Benjamin Franklin is the devil.
You better not give my child any candy and a smile. That's of the devil.
So growing up, I don't know if y'all had this, but like, I had one specific costume I had to be every single year. I don't know if it was like my ADHD, my mild autism, like
Power Ranger,
dude,
all of us.
it was a werewolf.
I can see it.
Every year I wanted to be a werewolf. But as I got older, I realized werewolves got the shit out of the stick.
They do.
Vampires is where it's at.
Until we got into high school, and then the whole teen vampire.
I'm not talking about sparkle vampires. I'm talking about Vlad the fucking Impaler vampire.
Well, I mean, vampires kind of suck.
Yeah, they do.
Bum. Bad
Wah,
joke.
wah. Dude, how do they suck? Like, not how do they suck. We all know how they suck, through your veins. But they got,
Except for the Billy and Mandy one, then it's a scrape and lick.
yeah. But like, you stay young.
Terrible.
You stay young forever. But that's how bats actually
Yeah.
drink blood. They scrape and lick.
Yeah, exactly. See?
But you stay young forever. You're automatically rich for some reason. You don't want to be a broke ass bitch vampire.
No, you're not rich for some reason. If you are immortal and you are still poor, you don't deserve immortality.
Fair point.
That's a good one.
It's like after 40 or 60 years of adulthood, you be like, oh, this is just like that time, 50 years ago when there was a Great Depression. I'm going to buy up all this land.
Your only natural, predator is a dude with a crossbow named Van Helsing and Blade. That's it. As long as you, don't go to big cities or go to Transylvania, you're solid.
Also, you can't walk around in daylight.
Who gives a shit?
You
Depending
can't
on which
cross.
story you read.
You can't cross running water.
Would SPF work?
No.
Says you, or it says the
Because
text,
all those stories were made before, the SPF 50.
right?
I think you can get 5-10 minutes out with
All
sunlight.
right. So can you walk around
Crash
on the
could be
beach
a
for a
vampire.
I
week
couldn't. I'm allergic.
without getting sunburned, even if you're wearing?
Can you what?
Can you walk? Can you just you as a regular person, just average Joe? Can you spend a week vacation at a beach wearing sunscreen and not get sunburned?
No, I'm allergic to sunscreen.
You have the hypoallergenic one though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, but you still get sunburned.
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
Like, over
Not
your
if
whole
I
life
keep.
for the whole week.
Nope. Not if I keep putting it over and over.
Yeah.
Like you have to keep reapplying.
All right.
It's not just I put on sunscreen. I'm gonna get into the sun forever.
Exactly. So how long do you think you can go just reapplying it?
It's like every what hour?
No, like a century.
I think what he
2
means
centuries?
is like how long, like at some point, like it's not like
You're gonna slip up.
You're just-
what I'm saying.
allergic to the sun to where it gives you a burn. It's like you're allergic to it where it gives you death.
Yeah.
So if any bit of sunlight touches a vampire, death.
Is that what? I don't know.
Because like
Well,
I've seen
here.
different styles.
Here. We'll go back to the original one. We'll go back to Dracula from the
I
book.
thought we were
Let's
going
go
to
here.
Nosferatu.
Nah, a little bit more advanced than Nosferatu was closer to a ghoul than a zombie. But the famous one we're all thinking of, which is fucking Dracula.
Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler. Alright, so back in that day, the vampires, it wasn't like if you go into sunlight, you burst into flame.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you go into sunlight, you are as weak as a regular human.
Oh, done.
So yeah.
So who gives a shit?
So you
Does
can
that
burst
mean-
into flame, but that means you can kill them just like...
Well, does that mean your age catches up to you at that point too?
It didn't in the story.
But
But also,
not either.
the majority of the vampires were like crazy young. Like Dracula was the oldest, then he had some chicks that tormented some accountant dude that he was doing for tax fraud.
Nerd.
Yeah, some nerd.
Nerd.
But anywho, your age doesn't catch up to you, but you can be like killed by being beheaded.
What I like about Vlad the Impaler, because he wasn't an actual, vampire as we all, because vampires aren't fucking real.
No, he was just a sadist.
One of my favorite stories about him is he had a meeting with like all of his head generals and stuff, and like he just had impaled heads everywhere because that was his shtick, his thing. And one of them said, "I don't know how we're expected to eat with this bad smell." And Vlad's like, "Aw, little guy, it smells bad. Well, here, we'll move to the roof for you. That way the smell doesn't really get
Don't
to
like
you."
this.
Guess what happened to him?
You got impaled.
Impaled.
Oh, that's better than I was thinking. I think it's just gonna kick him off the roof.
Nope, impaled.
See?
And then he looks around like, "Anybody else have a problem with the smell?" And they're like, "No, no, we're good."
Golden.
Smells like that big guy over there.
Vlad, dude, I love Vlad the Impaler. He was almost one of my badasses, but I decided to save him for Halloween because fucking Vlad is an OG.
Yeah.
He-
I hear you.
He's
Vlad?
a terrible person.
He's a rich serial killer.
Oh yeah, but if you're a rich serial killer in those age, you're called a lord.
Okay, again,
Because they were all...
I think we're just using this word serial killer like
Willy nilly, we're
Yes.
just like throwing it out there.
it's like there's serial killer, which
There's genocide.
No, serial killer is like, it has a definition. It has to be...
What is it? We're gonna Google it again. Let's go.
The definition for serial killer is you have to have a minimum of 3 victims.
Hold on,
And they can't all be in the same period, because then you're going to be a spree killer.
hold on one second. Can we do like a Mortal Kombat, like Crash versus Google? Fight!
I'm not saying serial killer
It
as...
is 3 more persons, usually in the service of abnormal physiological gratification with
Yeah.
murders.
Speak up.
A serial killer is typically a person who murders 3 or more persons, usually in service of abnormal psychological gratification, with the murders taking place over more than a month
Yeah.
and including a significant period of time between them. While most authorities set a threshold of 3 murders, others extend it to 4 to lessen it, or lessen it to 2.
So Vlad the Impaler, by definition,
Okay.
serial killer.
Well, I always thought like they had to have
Flawless.
like a call,
Like Zodiac.
like Zodiac
No,
or something like
Vlad,
that.
he had a call. They called him
The
Vlad the
Impalings.
Impaler. His thing was impaling people.
It wasn't like, oh man, there's these random
but like-
villagers that pay over.
but
I wonder who did it.
But that's the thing. I thought it had to like be kind of like anonymous. Like it wasn't
like a cop comes by and he's like, "Somebody impaled this whole village. I'm gonna find out who.
Yeah.
His
It was
partner's
Vlad.
like, it's Vlad. They call him the Impaler, bro. He's like, oh, we can't just do that. We got to do the whole investigation.
Innocent
Look at
until
this
proven guilty.
front yard full of impaled people.
Vlad walks out with an impaled head. Look, he talks. Hello,
This is Mr. Impaler.
I impaled a whole village yesterday.
He's under arrest, right?
Nope. Got to do this. I don't know who the hell did this. They got to write. I bet you they'll write a letter.
Mr. Disembodied Head, can I get your statement?
No. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Wait a minute. Ice Cube's here.
Well, the impaled head does have a point.
So with Halloween coming up, I'm thinking Isla, my daughter, is going to be Cruella de Vil, and I will be a Dalmatian. What's your kid's gonna be?
My son decided he was going to be Davy Crockett, and my other son then has to be Daniel Boone, so they're going to be Boone and Crockett. And my daughter's going to be Ariel the princess from the Disney movie Little Mermaid, but she has to have the tail.
I was hoping it was gonna go from the Grim Tale.
No.
I guess she's basically a siren.
No, she's Ariel the princess, the pretty one.
Oh, okay. I was really hoping it would be the other one.
She's a pretty princess. Just ask her.
Crash, what are you being for Halloween?
Just a dude.
You're just a dude. You're not dressing up wrong?
Nah,
You gonna come here for candy?
maybe. I don't know, man.
Well, we're having like a whole hay bale thing and kids and shit. So I've heard. I told everybody about it. So.
Yeah, I was kind of just gonna buy a big bag of candy, turn my lights off in the house, and watch people walk by.
Oh, I was gonna steal my daughter's candy because she's not gonna be one yet, and they're gonna give her candy. And
Oh, you're getting those parent perks?
dude, dad tax.
Hold
Dad
up.
tax, reason for the season.
Hold her up with the bucket to the people. Trick or treat.
Look how cute she is. Dude, those are full size. Fuck yeah.
Trick or treat. Change your costume. Trick or treat.
She doesn't like apples.
She can't eat this. Is that a bunch of Reese's in there?
Mhm.
Yeah, but they're the pumpkin. They're better.
Who gave you mozzarella sticks?
That Italian family down the way.
Bruh.
They told me forget about it.
In the zoo, they hand out zaps at the end. My son was pumped by it.
I'm thinking about going to Boo at the zoo this year.
Yep.
Do they have a murder bird there?
What?
A murder bird?
There's a murder bird.
A bird that murders? It's a serial killer at this point,
Okay.
by definition.
How many?
Does he get psychological gratification from it?
Probably. It's a murder bird. And you have him in a cage. I think it's a cassowary?
Cassowary?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the big weird looking thing?
Yeah.
They've had this
It's gone through someone's eye, it's gone through the back of someone's skull. They have to go in there with like football helmets and like
Wait, oh,
brooms.
this bird specifically?
Yeah, I think
has
it's
killed
one
people?
bird specifically. It's a murder bird, a murderer, if you will.
See,
Hashtag birderer.
that's why I told you can't trust any animal on two legs. It's too smart for its own good.
Just
It'll
going
kill
around
you.
murdering people.
Like alligators, they're on four legs. They can't kill you.
Trustworthy.
Prove to me that a single person's been killed by an alligator. You can't, can you?
I mean, there's been 1,000.
Were you there? Did you see it happen? I want to see it happen with my own eyes.
You gotta look at that
Alligators have never killed a person. You heard it here first. Science.
Science, bitches.
Because they walk on four legs, it is impossible for a human to die.
We're gonna get one of those things on social media where it says like we've been fact checked and we're dumb.
Dude, our whole social media pages.
Oh jeez.
I don't think they fact check us anymore. They're like, if they don't realize what the hell's going on here.
Maybe they recognize this as being satirical and that we don't know anything.
No, it's not satirical. An alligator has never killed anyone.
Ever.
And we just got banned from Facebook. Thanks, guys.
No, that's only for false political views.
Mhm.
This is just a false view in general. They let all the anti-vaxxers on there. Why can't we be on there? What's the difference?
Ooh.
Alligator 2024.
We are 100% less harmful than anti-vaxxers. Proven fact, you heard it here first.
I don't know, man. I've seen what Trevor does to a box of Twinkies before.
Dude, I love Twinkies.
Yeah, well,
Dude, I love fair Twinkies. Like the fried ones.
We didn't get one last year. Me and my wife were talking about getting one when we were at the fair at the kids' school, and they had fried Twinkies and fried Oreos. And we walked away and didn't get one.
Dude, I would've got a fried Oreo at least.
I know. I feel bad because we should have done it.
So,
It's expensive.
back on subject, Halloween. This is what we're doing. I watched. I'm big on horror movies. Like I watched The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Mhm.
the Warrens are some of the greatest con artists ever. One, I'm envy of them. Very envious. Two,
I've never seen. It's like the Skeleton Key.
the Warrens were the family that did the investigation on the Amityville house, and they were always in the media, like in the 80s, 90s, 70s, shit like that, doing all these investigations on like kids are getting exercise, like house has poltergeists, or
they were doing all this fake possession stuff.
Yeah. Dude, and the Annabelle and all that. Well, they had a new movie come out called Devil Made Me Do It. It's about a guy who kills a guy, and their defense is innocent because demonic possession.
No.
A witch put a curse on him and 2 other people, including the Warrens. And the demon possessed him, and he murdered his buddy. And then he was just found walking down the road with blood everywhere. He goes, I think I did something bad. So they arrested him, and they used that as a criminal defense.
Did he win?
No.
Why didn't they just go with
They went from the death penalty to homicide. He got 5 years.
So he won.
That's not winning.
5 years instead of the chair?
He got to kill somebody, and he got 5 years for it.
Bro, you can get
movie,
more time for like...
Weed.
Yeah. But like the whole movie was building up like it was a big victory. Like he got off, and I'm like, he still got 5 years because it wasn't premeditated.
Yeah, but it's still, you got away with murder for 5 years.
But like
and they can never try you
second
for it
degree. Like there's different stages of murder, as we know from our justice system. Just
Yeah,
like there's different stages of how many drugs you have on you.
Well, some drugs are worse than others.
Oh, they are, but like I'm talking about just the amount of drugs. Like if you have too much weed, intent to distribute.
Well, you have to draw an arbitrary line somewhere.
Just like with murder. So he still got convicted of killing someone.
Yes.
That is not a victory in my book.
Oh, you want him to get away with like no charges?
If they're going to use that defense, I better not have a single charge on me in the name of the Lord.
No, look, I call getting away with murder where I killed this guy and a reasonable amount of time later, my life is practically back to normal.
5 years is pretty reasonable, especially in Louisiana, because now it's
exactly.
25% served and you can go bye-bye.
Yeah, dude, he killed this guy, he did his time, did his duty to society, and a decade later, it's like it never happened. That's getting away with murder, because he's got the rest of his life to be like, yeah, I killed this guy. And he could be true about it.
Everybody's
He
gonna
can say
forget his
any
name,
story he wants
But the
about
devil
it.
made me do it.
Okay.
And the Warrens got rich off of this.
No, but picture yourself as this guy in a bar. I killed this dude I hated. Said the devil made me do it. In 10 years, I'm letting you buy me a beer.
Well, they were drinking buddies. Like he didn't hate him. It was like me murdering. I don't want to say Barrett, but me murdering Barrett. Y'all could see me doing it,
Yes.
Yeah.
but I wouldn't.
Sure.
Would you?
Unless the devil makes me.
The devil, a.k.a.
You?
I'm the bad guy. I'm not the devil.
So, I don't know. Anyway, back on topic, scary stuff. I think this reminds me of is remember senior year after we graduated, right? Or no, it was right before we graduated, senior year. We, I think it was the first. What's the really cheap horror movies everybody gets scared of that you go see?
Halloween?
No. Not Poltergeist. The one we went to go see. What was it?
Paranormal Activity.
First Paranormal Activity came out, right? And so we're like, oh, dude, we're gonna go see it. And we were sitting there and we're talking about it. And Trevor's like, you know, let's go. Fuck it, let's go this evening. Let's go this evening. Go home, get your shit. We're gonna meet back up at this movie theater. We're gonna go. So me, Trevor, and Barrett show up, and we're sitting there, and we go to the movie theater, and we're all like laughing, high-fiving, making jokes, cracking jokes at the credits and all this stuff like this. And I remember the movie starts and we're just like, we're still, about 15 minutes in, we go quiet. All three of us, we just get quiet. And about 20 minutes in, I look over and I'm like, I got my jacket in my lap and I'm like here, right? And I'm like peering over my jacket and I'm like, dude, I look like such a bitch. And I look over and Trevor and Barrett are doing the same thing, like this. And we're like, dude, what is wrong with this movie? Why is it so bad? Like, why is it so scary? By the end of the movie, we walked out. It was dead quiet. We got to the truck and we're like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Yeah, bye. We all jetted. I don't know about you, but that whole night ride home, I had a 45-minute
You called
ride.
me.
I was like, dude, I don't like this.
You called me once you got home. You're like, are you home? I'm like, yeah, I just got home.
Fuck that. Like,
Dude,
that was the worst.
Movie, whenever it first came out, that movie was terrifying.
That was genuinely scary.
It was like, I don't want to compare it to one of the greatest horror films of all time, but it was kind of like our version's Exorcist. In that nobody had really seen found footage like that before. Mm-hmm. And it was just the subtle nuances that happened. Because it wasn't the big jump scares, it wasn't all that. It was just subtle little things. And people have gotten away in horror movies from just the subtlety of being scared shitless.
It was the pendulum swinging from like Jason back to like Jaws.
Yes.
Yeah. See, and like Jason and all that stuff, that's not scary to me. It's just thrilling. Like
it's not a horror flick, it's a slasher flick.
Yeah,
which is
different. Things that I don't like scary movies, right? And the scary movies to me are things that I'm a spiritual dude. I truly believe evil is a thing, and I don't like that shit, bro. That's not the thing I like. So when I saw that, I was like, fuck that. I don't want to see that shit again. And so like I think I will say this, and my wife is probably listening to this in shame because I'm on the podcast again. But she's probably listening to this going, no, you're lying, because you sat through it. I remember saying I did sit through it again with her, and because she never saw the first Paranormal Activity, so she wanted to see naturally.
It's the best
one of them. So we watched like 3 or 4 or 5, which there's like 17 of them now.
It's like Land Before Time.
And exactly. And so by the end of it, she was like, "That's horrible." And I went, "I know. I told you it's dumb. Not dumb, but it's like really scary. Let's not watch that." She's like, "Yeah, we're not doing that again." So that, and then the Skeleton Key, we watched that together.
I think the first horror series I really fell in love with was the Nightmare on Elm Streets. But they really lost me even as a child when they went Dream Warrior. It's the one where the kids go to sleep and they realize, oh, we're dreaming, we can do whatever we want. So naturally, how do you fight off a burnt up pedophile? Superpowers. But they couldn't choose their superpower. And Freddy still murdered the shit out of most of them.
Why could they not choose their superpower if they were giving themselves superpowers?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you this, because before we came out here, you were talking about like we needed to pick like an urban legend.
Yeah.
Like that thing. I will say this because this reminds me, like as a kid, like, and this is gonna sound terrible. The only thing that truly scared me as a child was 2 things, right? And it weren't like an urban legend somebody told me, but it was. Hey, Ron. It was number one, which was pretty reasonable for our time, was Chucky. Chucky scared the shit out of me.
Really?
I snuck watching. My mom was watching it in the living room. She thought nobody was there. My mom and my grandmother were watching it. And I snuck behind the recliner and watched it for like 45 minutes, and then I screamed in the middle of it, and she got mad at me for watching when I wasn't supposed to. But it's her fault for being a negligent parent. Yeah, that's right, Mom. I'm calling you a negligent parent for letting me, assuming I was asleep and going to watch it. Anyway.
See, Vance used to take me to Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Blockbuster.
There's one left.
Alright. And he'd let me, as any grandparent would do, pick out any movie I wanted. And so, sadistic little rad, horror movie every time. So I watched so many movies I wasn't supposed to. And then there was some movies, I rented, I think it was Interview with a Vampire, an obscene amount of time. Not because it's a good movie. Oh, and Halloween. And Psycho. All 3 for the same reason. They had boobs.
Yeah, maybe.
And if you pause it at just the right time,
Jesus. All right, moving forward.
as a child, that was a big deal.
A mile away.
Anyway, as you were saying.
So I am showing my age because I did grow up with the VHSs and all that.
What was the point?
You call me old.
No, I mean the point you were making with the
Boobs.
So that was the point.
I'm glad boobs is not one of the words that we can't say.
Me too. We would be canceled.
You definitely would be canceled.
Bear would be canceled.
Bear would be.
So, back to Halloween.
Oh yeah. That's how it's all.
That's what we're talking about.
See, that's what I was trying to get at.
So what is your top, we'll go 2 horror movies. And also the worst horror movie you've ever seen.
Top 2. First one would have to be Skeleton Key. I think that's a really good. I don't like it, but I like the end of it. Like I don't like it as in like it is freaky to me. But I like how the ending of it is you think you can outsmart evil and all that stuff, but if you start to play games with evil, they're going to get the better of you. And then, for some reason, this is my soul. Like when I was a kid. You ever seen Midnight Movements of the Scarecrow?
Mm-mm.
Dude, it's a childhood one. It's from like the 70s or 80s. I can't remember. It's about this special ed man who literally does nothing bad at all, and he's just friendly.
It's called Sling Blade.
No, we're getting there.
Green Mile?
And he plays with kids.
Forrest Gump?
He plays with kids and stuff. And one day this little girl ends up dead, and he goes and tells people these like, hillbilly townspeople like think that they're just convinced this guy killed this little girl or hurt her or whatever.
Oh, this is flowers for Algernon.
And they end up coming after him in the middle of the night. Well, his mom thinks that or in the middle of the day, thinks that she knows the best place to hide him, and she hides him in a scarecrow. Like she tells him to get out of the field and hide in a scarecrow. Well, they are running around trying to find him in this cornfield, and finally, sometime or another, they realize that the scarecrow is moving or something like that, and they fill it full of holes with guns, kill him. Right? Well, a couple of days or months go by, and he comes back, haunts them, right? And so the scarecrow kills each one of these like 4 dudes in like these horrific ways, like chews them up in a combine, wood chipper, all this stuff. And like to me, like that was just like a really cool one growing up. Even though it was like really dumb, like 80s, 70s plot or whatever. Just a childhood one that I actually did enjoy.
Crash.
Huh. I'm also not a big horror fan.
I know I'm the only real horror fan here, but
Dude.
it's fun hearing like people that aren't fans of the genre talk about the genre, because we've come a long way with horror movies.
Yeah.
Especially like looking back at all the old shit, and you're like, this isn't scary, but at the time, it was terrifying.
Yeah, because it was the first time we did anything. It's like
Exactly.
innovation is all you can appreciate.
And we are very desensitized now.
We are.
So if you don't want to do it, I'll just go with mine.
I mean, I do. I mean, like you ever seen Jeepers Creepers?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, yeah, that one. Because I also watched it at almost too young an age to be like right on that. Yeah, this is inappropriate for children. And it's just the dude was making clothing out of people, just like Ed Gein.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs. It's one of those weird things. Like you're taking this thing. Everybody has clothes. You make out something weird, which is fucking nipples. That's just off-putting. And even as a child, you're like, that's not right.
I think the ones that stand out in my mind, they're the impactful ones, the ones that like I remember, like
Norbit.
the one you were talking. What'd you say?
Norbit.
With Eddie Murphy.
Scary movie.
Rasputin.
Rasputin.
I do have to go with Paranormal Activity, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because that was the first time I don't want to say adult life, but like teenage to adult life
You pissed on yourself because of
that I felt the terror that like I waited for since high school. I don't feel it to this day, but I felt that chill. I really.
You can have it. I don't want it.
You wanted this.
Yeah, I wanted that scared. I remember it. It's a fond memory for me because I was with my buddies watching a scary movie and like I actually got scared. It wasn't something that we were just sitting there joking. We thought we were going to sit there and laugh at the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like, aha, this is so
But it was actually terrifying at the time. Like going back and watching it, it's kind of boring. But like at the time, it was fucking insane. Like whenever they had the footprint and it just appeared, like
Yeah. Oh, dude.
and just like the little things they did and the found footage, I was like, oh my god,
All
yes.
the stupid shit on the little fan panning, and then all of a sudden all the furniture's on the roof.
Yeah.
Or on the ceiling.
And
Terrible.
I think my number 2, and this is for a nostalgic reason, just because I was a big fan of the series as a kid, was Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger is a truly terrifying villain, but it's also more of a slasher film too.
Yeah.
But whenever like he sucked up Johnny Depp and then all the blood came out and all that, as a kid, it freaked the fuck out. And I was also too young to be watching it.
Yes.
But like, I remember it's a nostalgic thing, both of them, and those are 2 of my favorite horror movies. Now the worst one I've seen.
Oh, dude, I know which one you're gonna say. The same one.
I don't think you do. You can go. You can go first.
I was gonna say Stan Helsing.
Stan Helsing.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a comedy.
I know, but it's still horrible.
It's bad.
It's those comedy ones are supposed to be at least somewhat freaky.
The best comedy horror film.
What? Go ahead.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah. Which one is that? Remind me of that one. This is
They buy that camp.
I watched a lot of Comedy Central.
Well, Tucker and Dale, 2 redneck boys. They buy a
Oh,
camp.
okay, never mind.
And then all the college kids keep killing themselves trying to kill them or some shit. Like
I was thinking of, for some reason, I was thinking of Hot Fuzz. Is it Hot Fuzz where they're like the
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. That's what.
Me and my buddy Fair. That's our movie.
Yeah.
And another horror film. I'm gonna go with 3. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Can't do that.
Okay, I can't do that. I'll do it the next podcast. I'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
sure.
You'll see them next week. Get over it. No, the worst one. I made Crash watch with me, and it's any of the bad bins you can find on Amazon Prime.
There's like 9 of them.
Imagine Paranormal Activity with a Natty Light budget.
Oh wow. I mean, I think it did have a Natty Light budget.
This had a worse budget, shot on an iPhone 2.
He might have actually used like home security cameras just because that was the cheapest ones you can get, and we could store all. Because when you buy the pack, it comes with the hard drive, you know.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and talk about that for just a second. Why is the security cameras, the camera that you're depending on to save your ass one day, the worst footage that you can ever get in your life?
Because
Mine's not.
What are you gonna do about it?
Nerd.
I just say. I mean, I guess it's because they would be stolen if they were really good cameras and someone could do. I don't know.
I mean, you don't really need it to be that good because most of the deterrent is, hey, you can see this camera, right?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the suspect.
Mine whistles.
He looks like a fuzzy dot. Have you seen him anywhere in your area with a red sweatshirt?
Actually, yes, I did. That fuzzy dot was me.
The calls come from inside the house.
That was a freaky ass movie too.
Yeah.
Have you checked the children? Oh, you don't remember? I think it was a babysitter or something.
Oh,
like
the
that?
kids.
Yeah.
I'm babysitting. Oh, I'm so hot.
That's another thing in horror movies.
What's that?
Everyone gets stoned, and all these teenagers are just fucking constantly. I remember high school.
I was not fucking
I was attempting to, but it didn't work out the way it works out in horror movies.
Also, you know, you're pretty much golden, apparently, by horror movie logic. If you're not an extremely Hollywood type attractive person,
Which I am.
nothing bad is going to happen to you. If you're just
Hollywood
a
call
regular,
me.
if you're a regular Joe, nothing bad is going to happen. If you're hot though, and people are constantly after you and say, "Hey, you look really good," you're gonna die in the thing.
See, that's kind of the thing. Horror movies, they were like designed to stamp out the uniqueness. Because the average, like middle of the road people tend to make it out. But if you're too different, minority, the hot chick, the slut,
the jock,
Crash. If we were all to go into a horror movie right now,
Crash would die first.
Yes, and then.
But not for the reason you're thinking. It's not because I'm black. It's because I'm a traitor. I will betray you all almost immediately.
I'm on your side now. No, Satan, take me. I'm on your side.
He's going to try to leave and run out of the house, and he's
no,
gonna die
not even
first.
that. Like I might try to leave and run out of the house, but not to escape. I'm gonna be looking for the killer. Like, hey, how many people of them do they have to die for me to make it out?
Stabs.
Like, do you need a hand? Because it's like I'm real good with a knife, bro. Like, you sneak with an axe and you stand and shoot, I get him in the back, and we got this. And then he stabs me, and you find my corpse like 45 minutes later.
I'm pretty sure I would either die, or I'd be the first one just out of the movie because I would just fucking leave. You know how I get
in that
like,
situation.
You know how I get like at parties and stuff whenever I've just had enough, and everybody looks around after like half an hour, like, where the fuck did Rad go? Like, he's gone.
He's outside smoking a Jew.
John Bonner. 9 times out of 10. Well, no, out of 10. How many times would you agree to somebody just to like, hey, you want to go camping?
If somebody asked me if they
Yeah,
were
it's like, I got some family land. Like, you want to come out there and go camping with me?
I know where this joke's going, and no, never.
So you won't go with somebody to go camping?
It depends on how well I know the person.
John, you want to go camping?
You're lying because I know you hate camping. So no.
I'll go camping with as long as there's a bed and like AC.
Yeah, it's like he's
and
got
walls,
yeah,
and
like
a roof,
like a camper.
Like my great uncle has a cabin.
Oh yeah, done.
And it's like we can go camping out there, have a bonfire or some shit.
Done.
Get some beers.
Y'all go ahead and go camping. I'm past.
Done. I'm in.
I'm going camping.
I gotta
No, that's not camping. That's going to a cabin.
To go camping with you, I'm gonna have to have your mom and dad's phone number in my phone.
No, that's good luck finding
Bear.
Negligent parent. That's a horror story in itself. No, that's not camping.
I'm
that's
not gonna be
hang
the
out
guy
with
that ends up in the horror movie. If that's what you're asking.
Yeah, but it's not just that situation. There's also we bought this new house. Like, if I buy a new house and the house ends up being haunted, I'll be honest. Like, I spent all this money, my credit's tied up in it. We're gonna have to figure out some solutions.
See, I'm at the point in my life where now I'm out. Nope. I told Jessica, if we buy a house and it's haunted, we went looking with our real estate agent, and there was a house with like the really high, creepy ass ceilings.
Yeah.
And I walked in, she goes, well, what do you think? I'm like, there's a dead girl in here. She's like, what is it? There's an LDG, little dead girl. Every horror movie has one. And she lives here. No, they don't. We go upstairs, there's a little closet in the little girl's room. Guess what we fucking find?
Little dead girl.
A headless, naked Barbie. A goddamn headless, naked Barbie.
I mean,
I got the fuck out of there, and I did not buy that house.
In the previous film's defense, that's kind of a normal thing to leave when you're packing. It's like you leave one toy.
But if your house has little dead girl vibes, and you know if your house has little dead girl vibes, you're not going to leave little dead girl toys for potential buyers because there's bound to be a fucking little dead girl. So I'm going to look down my stairs and see a chick walking out the TV just all.
So we visited a house we were house hunting that definitely had little dead girl vibes, but I liked the house, okay? And we walked through the house. It was an old antique style house, and it had some problems. And then all of a sudden, we walk into one of their living rooms because they had multiple living rooms. We walked into one of the living rooms, and it had a China doll exhibition, like multiple China dolls on the wall.
Like Annabelle looking motherfucker.
Yeah, looking at you. Nope. Ding. And I was like, strike one. And then we went in the bathroom.
2, 3, 4.
And we're like opening up all the cabinet stuff, looking in them. And in the bathroom cabinet, they had a secret tunnel that went up into the attic. From there was like a dumbwaiter thing and stuff. And I looked at my wife and she goes, no, absolutely not, hell no. And I went, yeah. And she thinks that horror movie, me being afraid of horror movie stuff is kind of stupid and stuff. So we walked out of there. She was like, that fucking house is haunted. And I was like, I agree. That was a bad one.
Hold on. To be fair, the dumbwaiter was not for ghosts. is so the raccoons can sneak into the house.
No, it's for the murderer that lives in the fucking attic to get to you in the bathroom quick.
And it was a huge shaft. Like, I could have climbed up this shaft.
No.
Oh, alright.
No.
See, I was thinking it was like the size of like a little mirror.
They kept sling blading that motherfucker.
Like, they were hoping that we wouldn't notice the shaft.
Dude, this is horrible, but it's scary, but not in the way of Halloween scary. I was looking at houses with Sebastian, and it was this own guy, for sale by owner, selling his own house. We walked to the master bathroom, and the dude's with the girls, like showing them the outside and all that, and I'm looking, I'm like, dude, he hasn't done all the repairs he said he has. We look in the sink, there's shitty underwear in the sink.
Oh, well, they just say blood.
No, shitty underwear just being like washed in the bathroom sink. That is a horror story on itself.
Yeah, I'd rather blood.
Oh yeah.
And a knife.
I'd rather him be a serial killer than that.
Fecal matter? No, I don't want your house.
Nope. Out.
Done.
So, now the point of this podcast, John Bond, I need you, because this is your week.
Oh, it's my week.
Yep, this is the first week of October. We're going to start light and move on to heavy. I'll be doing the very last one.
So, well, I admit that you probably have had more scary shit happen to you. But, mine is light.
You're the teddy bear of this pod, baby.
Oh, well, then I'm going to set the bar pretty high for a damn teddy bear.
Go ahead, Crash is next.
Okay. Alright. So the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, or that continues to happen, we'll say that, is that, okay, so I'll let the cat out of the bag and tell you that I work in mental health, right? And any of my people that see me, you already know that. But there's a fine line between there being mental health issues, which are, I mean, I can handle mental health issues always, right? And there being something else going on. Like, I'm not saying that you can talk down any mental health person or anything like that, because it's not always the truth. But you can once there's a mental health issue going on outside of like psychosis or like schizophrenia or something like that, that's going on. Mm-hmm. There's always some receptivity on the other end. Like, you can see what's going on, right? If there's someone that's completely out of their gourd, like, it's just like the lights are on, nobody's home kind of thing, right? There's that. There are very few rare occasions, right, which do happen, where I truly feel like something is with somebody fighting me. Like, absolutely fighting me, because I am proposing that this person better their life, right? And that there is something truly evil inside of some people, right, or around some people and following some people. Now, with that being said, without getting too specific, I have had certain incidences where I've had people, and it happened to me in a multiple fashion of people, right, come into me like with the same issue, and within a few weeks of one another. And there are hallucinations, right? And so there are truly hallucinations in this world and there are a pattern of people saying that they see shadow people, right? That is a typical hallucination that does happen.
Shadow people, demons from sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty run of the mill, and I deal with that often, right? With hearing, understanding, that kind of thing. But the pattern is that these people would come in and talk to me about these, they would sometimes call them demons, sometimes call them shadow people, that hated me.
You specifically?
Like me. And I said, oh, really? I said, yeah, they don't really like you. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Right? I just kind of I'm not going to...
Fair, I don't like them either.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of them either.
Tell them fuck you for me.
You're not going to argue with their shadow people.
No,
in front of them. It's
right.
It's rude.
This is between me and you. You're not involved in this.
And it happened on multiple occasions, and most of them, one said that, another one said that they didn't like being in that room with me, and that they felt like they needed to get out, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. The worst one was, and I did have one tell them that person wanted, that their demon or whatever wanted them to hurt me or kill me, right, which was cool.
I don't think that's cool.
And
it's really not.
So in those moments, right, what I realize is that, again, I truly, and this is part of the thing that keeps my faith alive and stuff like that. Not just seeing good things, but knowing that there are truly bad things out there that don't want good things to happen, And every time I encounter something like that, I have to reach inside and find the good in me, because I refuse to be scared in those situations, because it's my knee-jerk reaction that I want to be scared. But that's what, and just I'll take it out of this context for a minute. I'll tell everybody this: bad things in the world want you to be scared of it, right? And they will never go away unless you stop being scared of it, right? And so when I'm facing people like that in situations like that, I realize that the only way to end this is going on is to put that fear aside and to stop being a bitch, right? And engage the situation and be there. So
the shadow people hate you. Call them a bitch.
And I totally say I have said something to that effect, and I say, usually whatever they say like that, something of that nature, I will say, well, let them know I don't really care about them.
Yeah.
And their eyes get huge whenever I say that. And it is spooky, dude. It is very spooky. But not afraid, just spooked out. A little bit different.
All right, and our horror thing for the week, the
urban legend.
Urban legend.
All right, urban legend. Okay, my urban legend, and I'm gonna deviate slightly because it's mine, right? So I get to the only true, because urban legends to me are like monsters under the bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only true monster under the bed I ever had in my life, right? Drum roll, please. Right?
It's a snare drum.
It's a snare drum. What is that? And you guys are gonna laugh hysterically. You ready? The Honeycomb monster.
What the fuck? You want Honeycomb?
I was fucking terrified of him as a child.
Like from the cereal?
The cracked out one of the
What? Lived under my bed.
It didn't live under your bed. It lived in the TV.
And if I fingers or my toes held out from under the bed, he would eat them.
From the cereal?
From the cereal. I had this feeling.
You just knew. You just knew.
I am telling y'all, and I am man enough to admit this. I was well into being in middle school when I finally realized, bro, there's no way that monster lives in your bed.
Wait, so until you were a teenager?
Bro, I started school at Redemptress, and I was like,
Honeycomb monster gonna get me, bro.
Like, he ain't there.
No, bro, you gotta make sure you tucked in before you fall asleep.
That's why you burrito.
Burrito, dude.
On that note, we're gonna end there. Thank y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell your grandparents, tell your grandparents' friends, tell your parents' friends, everyone. Everyone's welcome to watch the Damn Rad Pod. Everyone might not like it, but hey, it is what it is. Thank you again, as always, Rad, John, Crash. See y'all next week for another Halloween episode where Crash is going to take it.
Sure.